So, as most of you know, I am not with Joe Biden on healthcare. Joe Biden is starting the negotiation from a very centrist point, which is let's tweak Obamacare and add a public option. We'd be lucky to get to that if you start the conversation at the most progressive point. If that's where Joe starts, we won't even get that, and I'm not with him whatsoever. I'm not with Joe Biden on cannabis legalization. He's against it. I'm for it. Joe Biden recently said cannabis is a gateway drug. That's been widely debunked beyond it being a gateway to violence when it's illegal because people have to get into situations that are less than savory in order to get their cannabis. But beyond that, it's not a gateway drug. I am well to Joe Biden's left. I'm a Warren Bernie guy. But I must tell you, I reviewed Joe Biden's tax plan, and it's like sort of okay in a very mild way. I guess I'm saying it's not terrible given lots of Joe Biden's other positions. Now, of course, there's no wealth tax in Biden's plan. He told a group of wealthy donors behind closed doors that their wealth is basically safe if he becomes president. He won't do anything to radically change or challenge their privileged position in society. That's not a surprise. But given how off Joe Biden has been in so many other areas, his tax plan is better than I would have expected. So let's take a look at it and discuss it. Let's go through. Some are bigger deals than others. First of all, taxing capital gains and dividends as income is huge. Right now, capital gains taxes max out at 20%. So if you're a wealthy person who would pay the top rate on earned income, money you make via dividends and capital gains is only taxed at 20%. If you tax capital gains and dividends as ordinary income, you will collect significantly more money from the very rich who are mostly earning money from dividends and capital gains, businesses they own, stocks they own, for example, rather than labor. This is a big deal. Of course, people will find ways to try to get around it, but this is a really big deal. Joe Biden would raise the corporate tax rate to 28%. This is fine. Trump lowered it from 35 to 21. But what's important to remember is that huge corporations often don't pay anything close to what the corporate tax rate is anyway because of loopholes. Many corporations pay zero or even get tax credits. So I agree that we should bring the corporate tax rate back up. This is not some miracle, and let's not make it out to be one, because there are lots of ways to get around paying any corporate tax as it is. Joe Biden would end the stepped up basis rule. This really benefits the rich. The way this works is if I buy $1,000 worth of stock and I sell it for $10,000, I've profited $9,000. You take the 10,000, you subtract out my basis, which was the $1,000 I paid. So I pay taxes on the $9,000 gain. Stepped up basis means that in certain situations, for example, if shares are inherited when someone dies, the recipient is able to step up their cost basis. So those same $1,000 shares, if I inherit them when they are worth $9,000 and then sell them for $10,000, I am able to step up my basis to $9,000. And now I only pay taxes on a gain of 1,000 between 9,000 and 10,000 rather than that full gain. Biden would get rid of that. Biden would put in place a 15% corporate minimum tax. Now, this is a good idea. The devil is in the details. The minimum tax suggests that you've got your official corporate tax rate of 28%. You can start to take deductions to lower your effective tax rate, but the minimum tax would say that no matter what deductions you're entitled to, you can't deduct yourself to a point where you pay below a 15% tax rate. That's a great idea. The problem is often there are deductions that are exempted from that. So it's all in the implementation, still a fine idea. 21% tax on foreign profits, fine. But again, a lot of it is how do you implement it? Capping deductions for the wealthy is fine. Cracking down on tax havens is a good one, but it's vague. There will very often be, other countries that enter with other opportunities to avoid taxes. It's the right idea. Implementing it effectively is very difficult. Biden would raise the top tax rate to 39.6%. Now, that's fine. That's the top rate we had under the Obama presidency after the Bush tax cuts expired. Again, lots of rich people earn through capital gains and dividends anyway. What I would like to see are higher marginal tax rates established for higher levels of income. A new higher rate for $1 million and above, an even higher rate for 5 million, 10 million and above. Biden doesn't do that. It's not surprising, but at least he's rolling back putting the top tax rate back to where it was under Barack Obama. Biden would also close real estate loopholes and end fossil fuel tax breaks. That's fine. The devil is in the details. So this is a fine left of center tax plan. It's way better than what we have. It won't do anything about the military industrial complex. That's a budgeting thing on the spending side. That's not a revenue thing. It doesn't fix healthcare. That's a separate issue. Joe's plan is very milquetoast centrist on healthcare. But calling things what they are, it's a tax plan that goes in the right direction with some good tweaks. It doesn't really shake anything up, which is exactly what Joe Biden promised rich people. Once again, I don't agree with much of his policy, but Joe's being honest. He told those rich people nothing will fundamentally change and challenge your privileged status in society, which is widely unquestioned at the top echelons of power. He told us that that's what he would do, and that's exactly what his tax plan would do while doing some okay things. Let me know what you think about this tax plan. I know the wealth tax is missing. I know higher tax brackets at higher income levels are missing. I get all of that. Let me know what you think. I'm on Instagram at david.pakman. Follow the show on Instagram at David Pakman Show. Privacy.com is one of our sponsors, and they're giving you $5 just for using their free service at privacy.com/Pakman. Privacy is a service I've been using for a while now. I love it. It saves me a bunch of headaches. It's completely free, and it's very quick to set up. And here's how it works. When you pay for something online or over the phone, instead of exposing your real credit card number, Privacy lets you generate virtual card numbers. The payments are withdrawn from your checking account, but your real card number stays completely private, and you do it all with one click. You can autofill the card number in your web browser, on the phone. You can create 12 virtual cards a month. You can set spending limits, freeze them, delete them whenever you want. I especially love it for free trials where you need to give a credit card number, because I can destroy the virtual card number as soon as I give it to the company, and I know I won't be charged in the future. If you're ordering food over the phone, why do I need to give a restaurant my real card number if I don't have to? Companies don't have to know who you are. Your real credit card number is protected from the data breaches that happen, unfortunately, more often than we would like, and it's completely free. They do have a paid version with different tiers where you can create more virtual credit card numbers per month, cashback rewards, extra security features. But go ahead and sign up for the free service. It's a no-brainer. Companies can't charge you unexpectedly. You're protected from identity theft. It costs you nothing. And Privacy is giving you $5 to spend just for signing up when you go to privacy.com/Pakman.